Alright everyone, here we are with another video with Invest for Tomorrow, and we're going to talk about an IPO that's coming out this week. I've been so excited about it. I've been tracking it since last month, waiting for the date, right, the release date, and we finally got confirmation, and we're going to look at some different charts that have to do closely related to this IPO, and for us to have an idea if this is coming out at a discount or a premium, or where will it go in the near future. So we got some things to look at. Stay tuned till the end of this video. But before we jump into these charts and discussing this IPO, I want every single investor to be aware of the launch of my website. I just launched it this week, investfortomorrow.com. I'm going to put the link down below. I want to say thank you to all of you guys that have stopped by and to those of you that have joined. There is an intro video to kind of get an overview on the purpose of this website and what the intended goal is looking forward. And we have the stock picks forum where I'll have weekly and monthly stock picks, right? We're going to announce them. I haven't done any posts yet, but I am going to start very soon. I just launched this last week, and we're going to get this developed over time. But we'll have those weekly and monthly stock picks every month and every week moving forward in the near future. And then the daily watch list. We have the gathering of investors where investors can come together, rendezvous, and discuss their knowledge and experiences, ask questions, and we're here to help all of us in the community, and we can all learn and grow together. And also great news about anything you guys think is important for other investors to know. Now, we're also going to have other forums in the near future. The first one right now, apart from stocks, is called How to Manage the Intangible, which will talk about credit score, what entails in a credit score, what builds it, and how you can have better control over it once you know these things. And I'm going to give a lot of tips and tricks on how to better manage credit. So that's one of the further extensions. There's many more to come as the website develops. We have the members option. You have to choose one to go ahead and gain access to these forums, and each one shows you what you'll get access to, and you'll see which one works best for you. But I want every single investor and viewer to realize that this is optional. I want everybody to know that this is not something that you have to join and be a part of. I've had a lot of members on the YouTube channel ask me if I've had a members group. I didn't have one till now. I finally launched the website, so here it is, and I look forward to building a community of investors where we're all going to learn and grow together while maximizing profits and minimizing losses. So let's jump into this IPO here. So you might see here on the screen Expedia. Well, I have Expedia for a reason here. We're also going to look at TripAdvisor, and we're going to look at some other ones as well. Let's see if this actually jumps back. There we go, TripAdvisor. And then we also have Booking Holdings Inc., right? So we're going to look at all of these, and we're going to see what does this have to do in correlation to the IPO that's launching this upcoming week on the 9th, and I believe it starts trading on the 10th. Can you guys guess what it is? Well, it's AirBnB. AirBnB IPO is going to launch this upcoming week. Their valuation, I've seen different posts in different locations. You can see it even in these two articles. One is saying 35 billion, others are saying 30 billion. Others are saying that the fundraiser amount is going to get them 2.5 billion. Now this one's saying 3 billion. They're all kind of around the same area. Now, this one still hasn't updated the date, but the specific date, we're going to look at it in just a moment. Now, I was looking at this article. There's a lot of great things to read about, but I like how they broke down the bull case and the bear case for Airbnb, because we got to look at this from both sides, right? I don't like being one-sided. The market has both, and you need to be aware of both of them. No matter how bullish you feel about something, you always want to know what the bears are feeling too, so that you know why certain movements are happening. So it shows here the marketplace, which that has to do with obviously the scale of Airbnb over time and the organic reach. The company says that during the first 9 months of 2020, 91% of all traffic to Airbnb comes through direct or unpaid channels. So like it just comes through directly, no advertisement. They don't have to do all that stuff. Airbnb already has a name. People know about it. You know, people were choosing Airbnb before going to a hotel. That's what it's basically showing us over the course of the year. And I would love for you guys to comment down below if you thought about using an Airbnb this year, or if you even used one, and how many times did you plan on going. You know, that right there gives you an idea. Something big that I realized about investing as I became an investor is when I go to decide to invest in something, and this is just side note, I like to think about how many times do I buy it or do I use it, and how many times can I imagine everyone else in the population uses it. And if they use it just one time, I multiply the cost that I use and kind of average it out over the whole entire population. And then I kind of divide it by 2 just to say that some people don't use it, just, you know, for room of error or whatnot. But that's just an overview of like, okay, this is how much this could be used and this is how much people, you know, buy it. And those are the things I really think about. Like if I invest into, for example, just random Starbucks, you know, I think about how many times in the mornings I go to Starbucks and how many times in the morning I come across people, and then I can just imagine everybody else. That gives you a big idea of what's going on there, you know. But that's just kind of the way I look at it ever since I started investing. Before I invest into a company, I like to think about how many times did I buy it, how many times have I seen people in the population buy it, and how many times can I imagine that the population buys it or uses it. Now, they're talking also about economic improvement and advances in the COVID-19 vaccines, which that's going to allow for traveling to happen. Another thing too, apart from that, which is great news, and we're advancing in that portion of the world and life right now, Airbnb, there's a lot of people that didn't travel this year. And just think about this for a second. There's so many canceled, right? Canceled flights, canceled trips, and bookings, that once we get moving forward and traveling becomes again a norm and everything's kind of stabilized and we're going in the right direction with everything going on, I believe that Airbnb is going to have an overflow of all the people that have been waiting to travel. I mean, there's people waiting to travel. I would love to see any of you guys that are waiting to travel. I know a lot of people are, and we all like to travel. And there's people waiting. So Airbnb is going to get, you know, that overflow of, you know, if they usually booked one place that day, it's going to become 5 times as much as that. Once things start moving forward, it's probably middle of next year, ending of next year, almost leading into 2022. So this is one of those investments that if you get on in early, and it slightly drops for whatever reason, this thing is going to continue to run up. And we're going to talk about all that in just a moment. But I can just imagine, due to the advances, once we start opening up and worldly travel starts again, this is going to have a tremendous positive impact on Airbnb. Now, they talk about the market opportunity again, then the Google effect. Basically, in the word Airbnb, it's becoming a top mind of way people describing news from vacationing, even if they're not actually going to Airbnb itself. So the Google effect is once a word is being typed so many times, and the SEO basically notices, right, their AI intelligence, the Google system realizes that Airbnb is being searched more than usual, which then starts making it easier to pop up. So Airbnb is basically just kind of being thrown out there in front of people as well, and people are going to search it up. The experience, which is great too, and you also have around 100,000 cities around the world that are actually going ahead and participating in this. Now, here's the bear case for Airbnb: the legal uncertainty, which right now hotel industry and so forth is trying to put pressure on this. Like anybody can just, you know, rent out their home or their location basically for a night and post it on Airbnb. They want to put some type of regulation and pressure. That might come over time, but that's not going to stop Airbnb from being Airbnb. Now, they talk about the risk here, which we all are aware of, but if you're traveling, you're going to have a good time. I don't think that we should be thinking about all these things that do happen, but I think it happens 1 in a million. It's not something that is going to happen daily, or what creates Airbnb to be so negative. Every single booking, this is happening. But these are things to definitely be aware of. All of this with the risk. I completely agree, which is important to keep it in mind. But that's the risk towards the host and the guests, not Airbnb. Airbnb is still making revenue, but it could affect how people look at Airbnb. So it's going to be super important to keep these in mind. Now, there's also the people that are against Airbnb as well, except for, other than the hotel industry. There's also homeowners. Like the house right next door to me is actually being actively used as an Airbnb. So there's the not in my backyard. Some homeowners and landlords and home associations are actively trying to ban services such as Airbnb, which is still kind of something that hasn't been completely banned. It takes some work, and we're going to have to see how that moves forward. But that's also another thing. So those are some of the most negative things about Airbnb. And even if this was to happen and it kind of limits certain places and regulations were to happen, I'm sure Airbnb is going to continue to be profitable. And that's one of the most important things. Now, competition. Airbnb must contend with online platforms such as Book Holdings and Expedia and Trip.com, which we're going to look at in their charts. And this is where I want us to remember, right? The valuation, 30 billion for this stock, and also the stock price, so we can have an idea of what's going on here. Okay, so the Airbnb's IPO here on Wall Street Journal is being stated, and they say Airbnb is planning its market debut next week, with its shares scheduled to begin trading on December 10th. On the 9th, it's going to be available, but I think it actually starts trading on the 10th. On Tuesday, the company says it plans to sell 50 million new shares at an offering price of $44 to $50. So here we are seeing another one saying $44 to $50. And then we have others saying that it's going to be close to 35 to 45. So we still have some things to see on how this is going to play out. But this is the most important thing. So Expedia Group, their market capitalization is 18 billion. Airbnb is supposedly a valuation of about 30 to 35 billion. So that's almost twice as much as Expedia. Now, Expedia is profitable. There's one thing about Airbnb, it's having some trouble being profitable. But that's the least of the worries, because over time, Airbnb is going to become a norm. And if it continues to grow and innovate as it has, and it goes through those loopholes of obviously the bearish outlook, on the bullish side of things, things look greater, right? They look better, they look greater, they look like there's an opportunity. So when you look at it this way, once Airbnb becomes profitable, it's going to be worth just as much as Expedia or more, right? Because the market valuation is already above it. Now let's go back to TripAdvisor, which is a search engine. And this is where you also see that the valuation of Airbnb is way beyond this one, and it's going to be pretty close to the stock price of TripAdvisor. So Airbnb from the get-go is basically at a discount, depending on how you look at it. The only negative is they're having trouble being profitable. But I believe that going into the second half of 2021, the beginning of 2022, and moving forward, there's going to be so many bookings and trips going on that it's going to go in the right direction. It's going to start to develop itself. So TripAdvisor is at $30 per share, and their market capitalization is $4 billion. And we're going to start around 35 to 45 and at upwards at most to $50 per share with Airbnb, right? At a valuation of a market cap of almost 30 billion. So by looking at TripAdvisor, you could see that. Now, in 2017, they weren't as profitable. 2017, they were not profitable. You can see that here. This is probably one of the most important things. I'm not saying that this is exactly, right, Airbnb story, but this is in the same sector. So I want you guys to see how it reacts. So their net income was in the negative, right? I don't know how much more negative or how close or how far, but I just want to show you guys the revenue, 1.5 billion, and net income was negative 19 million. Like, all that revenue just was nothing, and then there was just no income. So here we are finally becoming profitable the next year and so forth. So when we look at TripAdvisor back in 2017, their lowest point was $30. All right, so here we are with the other one. This one right here is pretty astonishing and pretty amazing, but this is probably one of their top, right, competitors, and their valuation is through the roof. So 87.03 billion in valuation, which is about 2 times or 2.5 times the total amount of Airbnb. When you look at this stock price, that's pretty, crazy, but they're very profitable, right? You got to keep that in mind. This is a very profitable company, and also the amount of shares that are available must be a lot less than what Airbnb is even starting with. But what I want us to see is, could this reach these numbers? Anything's possible, but this is a really far stretch. The only thing I see here is that they need to start getting more profitable, right, over time, which it took time for bookings to go ahead and make it this far and make it to this point of profitability. But they've been profitable since the start, right, back in 2016 all the way till now. Now, the most important thing that I see here is that the market capitalization is 2 times as much as Airbnb, and I believe Airbnb can reach that. And once it reaches around this market capitalization, it might even triple or quadruple from where it's at right now, or where it's going to start. So this is going to be very interesting. I really wanted to announce this IPO because I don't want you guys to miss out on it. It's going to be very, very important to pay close attention to it. I personally believe that even if it was to dip, let's say worst case scenario, after the IPO or after some time, right, because it cools off, because of the excitement kind of went away, it's going to be a good time to buy. And right away as it starts, I think it's going to come with loaded up heat, and it's going to start like a fire, right? It's going to go ahead and be a wildfire for a moment, and then it's going to cool off. But the beginning of it, it's up to you, whatever it is that you're trying to do as an investor. I believe that Airbnb is definitely one that you want to add to your portfolio. You want to keep an eye on. If it was to dip, it's going to come back up, I believe. Personally, that's my opinion. Airbnb has a big market. It has competitors that have proven themselves, which is really good. And Airbnb can take a share of this market and be valued, I believe, at least 3 to 4 times where it's going to start. And that's where the exciting part is. This IPO, a lot of people have been waiting for it. There's a lot of large institutional investors excited to become part of this, and you're going to see that. And yeah, we're going to have to watch and see what's going on, because Airbnb might run up really fast, or it might slowly run up and then fall back down and level off, or the best time to buy is going to be now, and then it's going to be too late to get in. But we're going to have to see how Airbnb plays out. All I know is that wherever it starts off, if it was to dip below it, it's going to be a discount again, and it's going to run up 2 to 3 times what it really started off at. And the boldest I'll go is 4 times the amount. And that's going to be an exciting stock to have owned and put in your portfolio. I hope to see your guys' comments down below on how you feel about this one. What do you think about it? Also, the analysis based off of previous companies that have already proven themselves. What do you think about that? And how do you feel about Airbnb's future looking forward? I personally believe that it's going to start to grow and expand and create revenue, but also profits around the middle of next year towards the beginning of 2022. And moving forward, it's going to be a phenomenal stock, a phenomenal company. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community. And don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.